How do I change?
You should have control on my camera.
So why I switched to that one?
Oh, you're not. Is this where you control it, or is this just the YouTube stream?
This is the YouTube stream.
Oh, you got to go into the thing to control the cameras. This is the laptop that's normally in here, right?
Yeah. So that's the app.
Okay.
Let's do this. Where's the?
How to? You not ever watch what he's in? Move the app a little. There it is. No. You got to move the camera. Is that the camera we're on right now? Just the back wall camera.
See if it's that one over there.
That's the camera I'm moving right now.
Yeah, that's the back wall camera. It was on the other one.
It was on this, so it's right now?
Yeah, it's on that now.
I can see more of the yes. Whatever you did, work better. Just get that together.
This is time, so we're going to get started. I'd like to welcome everybody. Thank you for coming out tonight. If you would please join us in the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. One quick thing, Councilperson Lynn Burchett is not here tonight, but she is here. She's here with us on Zoom. So she's up here with us still here, and she'll be listening and participating just like normal, but she's out of town tonight. But we're glad she could be here with us on Zoom tonight. And having said that, I've got a little presentation I'd like to make tonight. So first I want to read some background on this. On Tuesday, April the 22nd, 2022, at 2303, officers from the Pendleton Police Department were dispatched to 210 Central Road, apartment 114, for a reported unconscious person. While en route, Officer Carpenter was advised it was now an overdose. Officer Carpenter arrived on the scene and retrieved his defibrillator, medical kit, and Narcan. Officer Carpenter made contact with the victim, a 44-year-old male who was unconscious upon arrival. Officer Carpenter realized that the patient was in an unconscious state, administered one dose of Narcan based on information given at the scene by the complainant. Upon delivery of Narcan, Officer Carpenter began to perform CPR. Officer Carpenter administered CPR until Metro EMS units arrived on the scene approximately 3 minutes later. The EMS continued CPR and the patient was transported to the hospital where he recovered. The actions of Officer Carpenter reflect the steadfast duty that officers perform daily in this county and state. This also reflects on the training that Officer Carpenter received to deliver life-saving procedures to a patient until EMS arrived. So we'd like to present a certificate to Officer Carpenter for what he did that night. It was above and beyond. And Dan, if you come up front, please, sir. So I'd like to present the Certificate of Excellence in honor of your outstanding performance and dedication. Hereby I present this to Officer Daniel Carpenter. With this certificate for your high standards of excellence and demonstrated successful actions while delivering life-saving procedures. Thank you, sir. And with that, we're going to give you a $25 gift certificate.
Take place for just a quick picture. Sorry. Hold your certificate up if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Good job, Dan.
By 1 gallon gas.
So next, there are no council updates, so we'll move on to approval of minutes. Hopefully, council's had a chance to look at the minutes. And having said that, are there any changes that need to be made? Anybody have? No? Yeah?
Good.
She's good, okay.
Audio's working.
Audio works good. So having said that, do we have a motion that we pass the minutes as presented?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. No more discussion, all in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have a public hearing for annexation. This consideration of a public hearing to receive public comments concerning the annexation of 3.5 acres located off Highway 76 in the corporate limits of the town and set temporary zoning conservation and open space. The applicant owner of this 3.5 acre parcel has requested writing to be annexed into the Pendleton town limits to take advantage of the services offered by the town. This property is contiguous with property already annexed into the town of Pendleton, but is currently in Anderson County where there is no zoning. This property is off Highway 76 near Westinghouse Road across from the Bojangles Restaurant. And hopefully council's had a chance to look at that. Any questions, anything on that one? All right, hearing none, do we go ahead? Oh, let's go here, thank you. Yeah, so having said that, is anyone like to make a comment? If you would, please come up front to the podium, state your name and address, and we'd love to hear from you.
You need a comment about that or a comment about something else?
About that, this specifically, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing, and we'll move on. Next, we do have public comments, and in this case, you can make a comment about other things. This is for comments only, no questions will be taken during this. You must be a business owner, or property owner, or resident of the town of Pendleton to make a comment. There'll be a 3-minute limit, and action will be taken on these items. All right? So having said that, is there anyone here who would like to make a comment? Yes, ma'am, come on up.
Hi, my name is Amy Trick, and I live at and own 362 East Main Street in Pendleton. You likely better recognize this house, not by its address, but by its placement, as it is the single-story yellow house directly adjacent to the old oil mill. And I apologize, I sent this as a letter, but I'm not sure if you all got it. There's no confirmation, so I wanted it on the record. I'm writing because I've encountered a problem related to the oil mill. When I first purchased my home in October of 2021, the mill was in derelict condition, but largely intact. I was excited to find that within a month of my purchase, there were some cleanup efforts that were started. However, since mid-December of 2021, no one has been out to deal with the huge piles of debris and rubble that now cover the site. In effect, it has been left in worse shape than before they began the cleanup, and it is a visual scourge, most certainly, but my problem with the mill is now a financial one. In February, an insurance adjuster came out to my property for a home insurance-related visit, and I received notification in March that my home insurance policy is not being renewed because of the unsafe nature of the adjacent mill property. When discussing this with the adjuster, they made the very valid point that the state of the debris of the mill could easily and seriously damage my home if picked up by wind in a storm. In addition to the fact that wildlife is abundant there, the smell is terrible. It's all bad. The hazard created by the property next door is now going to be my financial issue that may jeopardize my residency. I'm very proud to live in Pendleton. The house that I purchased last year is my first ever home purchase, and it's really awful to imagine the increasingly derelict state of the mill as potentially jeopardizing my home. I'm hoping that council can help to get the mill cleaned up efficiently and effectively so that it is no longer a hazard. And I look forward to hearing your comments or remarks as to your plans on how to facilitate this. Thank you in advance for your help and consideration, and if there's any way I can personally help to resolve this issue, or if you have further questions for me, please do not hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to mention, we're in the process of enforcement action against them now.
Okay, thank you. I'm
So, the
very
bill-
glad to hear that.
As slow as it might be.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comment. We appreciate it very much. Anyone else for comments? Okay, hearing none, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Next, we have the police department report, and that's gonna be given by Officer Kelvin.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Officer Elder with Pendleton Police Department. I'm filling in today for Chief Crosby, who couldn't be here. The report we have for the month of May is that we serviced 320 calls within Pendleton, town of Pendleton. There were 12 reports taken in the month of May. 2 of those were cleared by arrest or citations. We had 14 warning tickets and 22 citations were issued. The police department responded to Tiger Wash on South Mechanic Street for a victim that had received a gunshot wound to the mouth. Investigations resulted in identifying 2 suspects in this case. Arrest warrants were issued by a magistrate judge, and the suspect was arrested 2 days later. The victim is still receiving treatment at a local hospital, but he is surviving at this time. Calls for service are continuing to rise due to the weather and also schools just let out. That has a tendency to raise calls for service. The police department did participate in the Anderson County Emergency Services Job Fair. This was on May 26th at Civic Center in Anderson. The turnout for public safety was not what we wanted, but it was good to have all of these first responders in the same area to be able to talk with each other and communicate that way. Police department was given an award from United Way of Anderson. This was in recognition for department's crisis intervention training. This is brought to you by Chief Crosby.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Next, we have the planning department.
Mr. Mayor, Council, good evening. Another busy month in planning. We issued 25 permits in May. Those broke down as 8 new homes, 1 accessory building, 4 encroachment permits, 2 new roofs, 1 commercial remodel, 2 commercial permits, 2 sign permits, 3 new fences, and 2 other permits that were including sign or sewer line work and rezoning requests. A lot of that's got to do with the by putting the fiber optic cables in the neighborhoods. So that's where a lot of that came from. The planning department also assisted the design review board with their regular meeting on May the 4th, 2022. The board considered this meeting a design standard for a new home, a single-family home located on West Queen Street inside the West Queen Street corridor. Town staff also assisted the planning commission with their regular meeting on May the 12th and then the work session on May the 24th in reference to current zoning considerations in the area of Main Street, Depot Street, and Cherry Street and Depot Street. This is the area that council asked the planning commission to look at and check on the zoning. The planning commission is working on recommendations to bring back to town council at their next meeting in June, and hopefully we'll have a recommendation. We'll have a recommendation for you guys at the next meeting. As you all know, that we are also in the currently working on the comprehensive 10-year plan rewrite. We had a great time last month. We held 4 public meetings. We did one on May the 5th, one on May the 3rd, one on May the 17th, and one on the 19th. I met a lot of great people. At the time of this report, we had 52 citizens actually participate in the in-person meetings. We had 147 surveys completed online. So after all of that information we will gather, we'll start compiling that information now and put it together and then present it in the overall program of the comprehensive plan rewrite, which will take a little bit of time, but we're heading that direction. In the code enforcement section, code enforcement issued 8 summonses to the owner of the Pendleton oil mill for overgrown tall grass and clearing of lots, unsafe lots. So we issued 8 summonses to them. Staff also issued citations for illegally tapped water meter in the preserve of Pendleton. We discovered that they illegally tapped onto a water line. And then we issued 2 violation letters for tall grass on Crenshaw Street and East Queen Street. Next month, we got the planning commission meeting on June the 9th, and then the design review board meeting on June the 16th for Rezone exchange. And I'll be happy to try and answer any questions you might have for me.
I have a question regarding the fiber optics.
Yes, sir.
So that's 5 that's going through here right now, correct? Or was it 18T or so?
So it's Vivo on the Grand and Social side. And that's where a lot of this is
Okay. Now, the other side, 7-6, maybe several months ago, it looked like they were laying some fiber optics over there.
I do believe that was 18.
Yeah, that was
They got
18.
one-
So they're both gonna be,
Both
so-
lines in service.
so basically, my question is, they're not working in conjunction, so basically, if 5 comes in, and maybe 2, 3, or 4, 5 months later, AT&T would come in and start.
So to the best of my knowledge, it's 2 separate companies, and they're doing their own thing.
They are franchised by the state as telecommunications, so that they're, unlike Duke Energy, as now is franchised by power. We do not control telecommunications, so the state issues them a franchise, they want to have 5, AT&T and Verizon, whoever else, all in one street, they have legal right to do that. They just have to pay us to review the plans and install on our home right away.
Thanks for the explanation.
Anything else? Thank you.
Next, we have the administrator's report from Stephen.
I do want to touch on something, Officer Elder said, I think he gave enough explanation. We are the only police department in Anderson County that require all of our officers to have. And I can't remember, but it is a critical incident training in order to deal with mental health issues that they encounter. So if you come work over here, you have to go through the whole process in order to show up at a job, at a site on call, and there's somebody in mental distress. There is no other department in all officers, including the reason why we're talking about AEDs and stuff. We're also the only department that has AEDs, which are defibrillators, and we have ambu bags in case somebody has stress breathing and everything else in order to provide some critical first aid prior to EMS or the fire department getting there. And I think today, and our officers today have saved about 5 lives already because that equipment is in our patrol. That's just a little bit of background. Yes, we have our audience here. But as far as my report goes, the bill date was 5/26. The water usage was 8,695,000 gallons. That equated to $66,948. Prior month, it was 6,669,000 gallons, which was $54,277. Sewer, we had a large water user use a lot of water, so we kind of threw our sewer numbers off, really, if you look for a sewer based on water. It's 12,050,000 gallons, $97,995. Compared to last month, which is more of an average month, 7,964,000 gallons of sewer, or $69,759. Sewer customers, inside the town limits is 1,951, compared to last month, 1,924. Outside was 8, sewer customers outside. Water customers, 1,713, compared to last month, 1,705, with 43 customers outside. For a total combined connection in water sewer, 3,715. Rentals, we had 0 depot rentals and 11 shelter rentals at the park. For revenue, we collected $18,730 for business license, $526 for motor vehicle, and $36,502 in property tax. We collected 1,187 transactions for a total of $376,972, with 789 customers paying online, over $54,859. And I like to preference that's $376,970. That includes payments from Clemson and Anderson County into the wastewater treatment plant, along with their loan payments into the wastewater treatment plant every month, is included in that $376,000. That's just not what the town itself is taking. Clemson Community Care System, one utility customer, municipal court had 33 cases. 9 cases were dismissed or found not guilty. 3 cases were continued. 4 cases were found guilty in their absence, and 17 cases pled guilty. We had a pretrial conference last month. We had 28 cases for that date. 15 cases we tried as bench trials on June 3rd court date. 2 cases we tried as bench trial on July court date, and 10 cases were dismissed and 1 case pled guilty. April, in case anybody wonders, with all those cases, we collected a total of $1,290 in fines, and we kept $510. Work orders for the month, we entered 378 work orders, completed 360 work orders. And just some general information as far as public works goes. Public works has been working for the last month and a half on the sewer right of ways, cutting them and repairing some drainage issues and washouts on the right of ways. They work to clear and reestablish the ditch line on Shannon Drive. We've had a contractor out making utility cut repairs on the asphalt and concrete. We installed a speed limit on Dalton Drive, 25 miles an hour. Earlier this week, we had to do sanitation for 2 days, and we had a double route day, double Memorial Day, and for everybody here, that required 9 of our 11 employees to run sanitation that day. The knuckle boom has had 2 times in the month that it's been down for repairs. We've kind of touched the council on this. The knuckle boom is much older. It's getting time to start looking at replacing that knuckle boom and sending the one we currently have to a second line operation as it's starting to blow hoses and wear out the cylinders and everything else. We're aware that there are a lot of limbs out there. We're running behind with all the truck being down, employee schedules, weather delays. But also we are down a manpower employees on the sanitation routes. We're having to get 4-time employees to cover that. And because of that, that 4-time employee is not running the brush, and he's also not cutting the grass on the road and stuff. The council adopted new water and sewer ordinance require elder valve sewer-only customers. Those have started being installed. We have been inspecting them, and they are being installed per our specifications. They are going in. AT&T will actually be boring along West Queen Street and the surrounding area in the near future that haven't been to start date yet. Has submitted the plans for review. And we didn't have any major water or sewer issues last month, so we always like to be thankful for that. The Pendleton Clemson wastewater treatment plant work, we've submitted a waste load allocation to the state, we're waiting for that to come back to verify. The engineers completed their site visit review process and are reviewing the drawings for accuracy. We have completed the utility locate, we're going to do a utility survey within the property, and we're coordinating the geotechnical investigation with the geotechnical on site, to make sure the soils can support what we're getting ready to do. West Queen Street, we're at the 30% mark on plan, we've got 30% meeting. They've gone back and started to make some corrections based off that 30% meeting, and they're going to bring back Studio Main and us to talk about some of the landscape issues. They're trying to locate the actual right of way right now, to find right of ways. A bunch of pins are missing, so making sure that we stay within the right of way because of the federal money. We're starting this month a pump station assessment. Should start tomorrow. They're going to do 3 of the pump stations over the next 3 weeks, and this goes back and forth. The council has approved in this year's budget. Prior to this, we had actually pumped down and pressure washed all the pump stations, so they're all clean and ready to go and be inspected. So that's what it's
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The fines that we collect and we keep. So we collected 1,000, we kept 500.
The 500 we kept, they got for, I think, somebody still in water. So normally if we collect, like you write a ticket, and I'm not, that ticket's $100. The city portion for running the court is like $27. The state takes all the rest. That's why when you look at Central, and I have been talking, they have a much larger court system, and Williams and I have been talking, they have a much larger court system. They spend about $150,000 a year on court, and they only recover about $30,000 to $40,000 to pay for it. The state takes all the rest of it, and court fines and everything, and if, I'm not, Amy is much better at explaining all the fees, but I believe if the judge reduces the ticket, it comes out of our side of it, and not the state side. And if he dismisses the ticket or only charges court fines, we have to send all of that to the state. And you nothing to recover.
So it's different percentages.
Yes, different percentages based on extent. So there's a lot of talk right now about what cities are going to do, because the court system is costing. Now we're paying for a public defender, we have to carry malpractice issues, we have to, and we don't have any cases, we have a contract with the county, why ours is so low. But that contract at the end, we have to go some other direction, and our caseload is going up, you're looking at about $120,000 expense.
See, I have a question for you regarding the compensation side. Who was the working contract with that?
Jeans, they're on,
That's what I thought. Okay, so and that just got underway now. Is there any kind of timeline at all?
They believe they'll have it done close to,
Really? Okay, yeah, all right.
we've done all the pre-work, get it clean and everything else. Then we go in, but we just have to pump it down, and then they're measuring times to pump down and checking our equipment and everything to get us back.
And they're checking all the stations.
They're checking everything that Rural Drive and, either Westinghouse or the Reserve Pump, I can't remember which one. Or maybe the one behind the Pendleton Reserve. One of them just finished in the last year, that one. That's no reason to check that.
Okay. Thank you.
Anybody else? If none, we'll move on to the next item. We have some action items we need to take care of. First is consideration of a resolution of town council to reschedule the regular meeting for July, since it falls on the 4th of July. So we decided we would like to reschedule it to Tuesday, the 12th of July. I'll read the resolution. Having said that, do I have a motion to pass this resolution?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries. Need a code for implementation. All right, And moving on to the next one, we have consideration of a resolution by Pendleton Town Council accepting the recommendation from Pendleton Planning Commission to rezone 86.93 acres located off Highway 187 from Ariel-Wide business to medium-density residential. The applicant submitted a rezoning request on March the 3rd of this year, requesting rezoning from Ariel-Wide business to medium-density residential to allow for residential development. The Pendleton Planning Commission took this action item up for consideration at their regular meeting on May 12th and held a public hearing at this meeting. The Planning Commission approved the resolution recommending that town council rezone this property medium-density or residential R3. The property was posted on March 11th along with a legal ad in Anderson Independent Mail. The recommended action is to approve this rezoning from Ariel-Wide business to medium-density residential. Other information in here. Any questions or comments about it? If not, do I hear a motion we pass this resolution?
I move that we pass this resolution.
Okay, you have a motion?
I just had one question, which is,
Sure.
is this already part of an existing, is this an expansion of an existing neighborhood, or he's envisioning this as a new neighborhood? Like it'll have its own name?
Part of the notice would be expansion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
And just to be clear, the R3 will still have a development plan that goes along with the R3.
Yes.
I guess for clarification, related, so you had two different properties. You had rezoning that establishes the zoning for a parcel, every parcel in town has some type of boundary. And then if there's certain development activities, they have to go through a plan review. In general, major subdivisions have to go through a full-blown plan review that comes back through various subdivisions. This is not I got off on Clemson University, this is not an approval to build anything.
It's just setting a baseline.
It's just setting the baseline zone.
It's current business, not Ariel-Wide business, so it's just changing to residential.
This is just a resolution. No other readings.
You have two more readings just on this.
I mean, it's I'm just sitting here, question, better. Not do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. I'll have a motion second. Hearing no more discussion, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries, it's unanimous. Okay. All right, moving on, we got consideration of the first reading of an ordinance to amend the official budget of the town council's fiscal year from July 1, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. Background on this, we're taking in the ARPA funds and sending those to the capital fund. The funds are coming through the general fund, which is why you'll see the big increase in that fund. We're adjusting for COVID bonuses given, which impacts several accounts associated with the employees. We're adjusting for increases due to inflation and specifically fuel costs that I think everybody's aware of right now. It's killing everybody. We are moving the money that was in the bulk line items into specific line items. These were the funds budgeted in the water and sewer and the street departments. We're receiving the $57,000 grants for the town's portion of the blower at the wastewater treatment plant, along with the increase in contributions from Anderson and Clemson for their portion of that. So, having said that, are there any questions? If not, do I hear a motion that we pass this for first reading?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Got one, go ahead, Lee.
I'll second this motion then.
Okay,
Thanks, Lynn.
thank you. All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. All right. Moving on, we have consideration of first reading of the capital project ordinance for the town of Pendleton's wastewater treatment expansion. At the present time, we do not have all the details for the projected costs of this. As this information becomes available, this ordinance will be amended to reflect such. The passage of this ordinance will allocate funds to the project. I guess these would be the anticipated costs that we have in here.
This is, the engineering on it for everybody's 5.3 million. So this is just part of our portion, 5.3 million.
Just our part of it.
So we have to get the total cost, but we have to do all the financing, so we on the plan. And then we have to divide that up in operation group for everybody else. Actually, we forgot what it is months. We're gonna start talking first round here shortly. Start talking about the cost, but we have a grant in right now, or we're trying to put in a grant right now for a lot of the code funding. They're coming out with economic development. You and I met with Senator Alexander, who's the president of the Senate, with Mayor Clinton, their city administrator, and county administrator. But we're putting in that grant that we July, and we're gonna ask $25 or $30 million. We feel like a pretty good shot at getting it.
You know, he indicated I will get a chance.
Yeah.
It's kind of a moving target.
It's a huge moving target right now. So,
Yeah. It's kind of hard to finish that. But anyway, are there any questions about that? If not, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, raise your hand. All right, motion carries and it's unanimous. All right. One more thing too, I meant to say this is first of the meeting, but I forgot, because my old timers kicked in on me. But just to mention to folks, we are streaming out live and you are being recorded if you're talking. Just so you know that. I meant to say that earlier. But next we have consideration of first reading of an ordinance to change corporate limits and annex 3.5 acres into the town and define a temporary zoning classification for the owner, who is Richard K. Bennett. The applicant and owner of 3.5 acre parcel applied in writing to be annexed in the corporate limits of the town of Pendleton to take advantage of services provided by the town. This property is contiguous with the property already annexed into the town that is currently located in Anderson County and has no zoning applied to it. This property is located off Highway 76 in the area of Westinghouse Road, kind of across from the Bojangles restaurant there. Planning Commission, or recommending town council accept annexation is a recommended action at the sign. The temporary zoning is conservation open space, which is the most restricted form of zoning that we have. So this is presented as to what they're going to do with it. So having said that, are there any questions about it? If not, do I hear a motion? That we pass it for first reading.
First reading, I'll make a motion, we'll go ahead and pass this.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. All in favor, raise your hand. Okay, motion carries, it's unanimous. Moving along, we have consideration of second and final reading of an ordinance approving convenience fees to be paid by the town of Pendleton customers that use credit cards and or debit cards to pay for town services, with the exception of police fines. The passage of this ordinance will charge a 3% transaction fee for the use of credit cards for payments except on police fines. Any questions on that?
I mean, isn't it worth clarifying that we're going from a
Yes.
flat fee of $1 to the 3%?
Yeah, we decided whether it made way more sense, because initially it was set at $1, and now we're going to 3%. So,
if you're paying a big bill, you'll end up paying more. But if you're paying your normal bill, it'll be around the same amount.
That's right. Yeah, so I think it's a good thing. Anyone else got any comments or questions? If not, do I hear a motion we pass this for second and final reading?
I make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we hear a second?
I'll go ahead and second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries and unanimous. Next, we have consideration of second and final reading of an ordinance amending the town of Pendleton's water and sewer use ordinance pertaining to rates. The passage of this ordinance will officially adopt the selected rate plan from the rate study. Since first reading, we have added a multifamily sewer only section that was recommended by the engineers. Any questions on that? We'll talk about it before. If not, do I hear a motion?
This is the final reading of this, right?
Yes, sir.
Give the public hearing that. I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Okay. We have a motion, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. Right, now we have consideration of second and final reading of an ordinance to change corporate limits and extra property in the town of Pendleton, South Carolina, and find temporary zoning classification for that owner Richard K. Bennett. The applicant and owner of this 45-acre parcel requests to be annexed into Pendleton town limits to take advantage of services offered by the town. This parcel is contiguous with property annexed into the town. It's currently located in Anderson County, has no zoning per ordinance. It will be basically zone conservation open space, which is the most restricted. Any questions on that? If not, do I hear a motion?
I move.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second from Lynn. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you. All right, next we have consideration of second and final reading of an ordinance adopting the town of Pendleton's official budget for the fiscal year 2022 to 2023. The proposed budget is the culmination of 4 months of planning with council and departments to develop the council's goals moving forward into the next year and beyond. The budget has tried to fund several of the goals, including specifically the following: 5 new positions, 2 being police, 1 is code enforcement officer, 2 in public works, $15 an hour minimum pay, absorption of the 19% health care increase that we're experiencing, 5 new vehicles, including 3 new police vehicles, expansion of sewer along Highway 76, funds for oil mill enforcement, additional funds in the planning department, $50,000 in new operational funds in the street department for street and sidewalk repairs, and $200,000 for potential greenway and sidewalk improvements along Mechanic Street. It is a very ambitious budget for sure, and staff will be working diligently to complete projects within the coming months. Good news is there are no new tax increases, but there is water and sewer rate increase. Having said that, are there any questions? If not, do I hear a motion?
All changes from the work session are incorporated into this line item.
Right, and that includes the money we put in that rate, right?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And the oil mill, how much do we get?
You want just enforcement fees? We are budgeting $50,000 just on enforcement. And then cleanup costs are going to start at probably $200,000. It just depends on several factors.
Sure. Thanks. Okay,
clarifying for people who weren't following the work sessions that we were trying to decide, between rec and how much planning money we were gonna do, and, we kind of split it up and made sure that we've got enough money set aside to really make our planning ordinances much more efficient and easy for people to understand, whether you're a big player in the game and developer, or you're a just regular resident who's trying to figure out what you could do with a potential lot, or what you can do, what you may want to do and how you propose that. And I think we thought that was gonna be something that benefits everybody, and then,
And we feel like that's a really important goal, I think we all do. And at the same time, we want to try to do something for rec, improve that.
exactly,
So we're trying to balance it, you know, on any given day, if there's a lot of things we want to do, like all of it, on quite to the point where we can do everything. Help get there. And improving efficiency is one way to do it.
It's a starting point for rec, basically.
It's a starting point. I'm not saying cure everything, but, you know, we want to get started and see if we can do something. And that was something really important to Lynn. She brought that into it. We appreciate that. That's been good.
well, the amount of money, for people who are here, the amount of money is equivalent to a part-time position for someone who's dedicated to recreation in the town. And right now, there is no one in town that's associated with that. So it's all with a nonprofit. And we feel like this is gonna help that nonprofit to be able to do a lot more with what they've got.
We're looking for a long-term solution to it to make it better, as it can be. It may take a little while, but we feel like this is a step in the right direction. It's not going to be everything, but it'll be something.
And it's not just, sports for young people. We're talking about recreation across all ages and all residents and ability levels. So. Anyway, not everybody comes to the work session, so I figured you might want to know some of the details. I'm excited about the highlights. So.
I'm real excited about what we got here. I think it's going to be great for us moving forward. We're just going to keep trying to get better and better. So what Steve said here, you can actually see this.
Yeah, you can go down the website and download tonight's agenda. And there is, I don't know how, it's probably 50 or 60 pages on the action item dealing with the budget. If you actually want to see what's behind the budget, what makes up the budget. And you can see everything from the budget message and information on how the budget is made, all the way to the line items, budget message, the draft. I have not had time to update it since the council's last work session. The line items are correct, and council's matrix on their goals and their funding is correct to our knowledge at this point. You can actually see when we talk about capital projects and what those are and estimated costs that are associated with those. And it's all online. You don't have to call us, you just go on the website, go to the agenda and see if I can attend that.
Yeah, so that's a lot of good information out there for everybody. We hope you have a chance to look at it. Council has worked extremely hard, spent a lot of time, and our staff has worked extremely hard, spent a lot of time. They've done a great job of trying to decide, what the goals were and collect that information. And, it's just been a team effort here, and I'd like to thank everybody, all our council. We got a great council and great staff here. We appreciate all of you, what you're doing for our town. Having said that, nothing else.
I make the motion. Is that what you're?
Yeah. That was, go ahead then. We have a motion, we have a second, Lynn?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second, so all in favor, please raise your hand. That motion carries, it's unanimous. All right, next we have, public comments and questions. It's just like the first time, you've got to be a business on the property owner, resident, or resident, come make a comment. If you do want to make a comment, you need to come up with the voting section, name and address. The only difference this time is you can't ask us a question, we will have to answer it. Having said that, is there anybody here that would like to make a comment or ask a question? Oh, I'm sorry. Just one second, I think I'll let you first.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to, we won't make you come up.
You see my feet,
Yes,
they're
ma'am.
swollen.
Yeah, I have a hard time getting one.
I'm pitiful, and it's just,
But if you would state your address, we know where you live on Welcome.
I kept looking at this sign, let's put Pendleton on the map. We will never be
Hang on
on
one
this
second.
map.
Could you state your address, just so we got it on the record?
Huh?
Your address, where you live, state your address,
Tell us where you live, Miss
where
Williams.
you live.
Well, I know it's 456 Welford Drive.
Okay, go.
Let's
Been there
talk.
since 64. I feel like all of y'all belong to me. And don't think because you're running this town and everything that it don't concern me, it concerns everybody. And I feel like y'all belong to me. I've lived over here all these years. I've been in politics all my life. I keep seeing what's going on. I care about you. I've always cared about you. But to put that on the map, we have got to have some kind of thing here. And at 102 years old, I'm not gonna live long. I want to die knowing that you have got this. Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna take. I told you, set me out. I'll take up money to make it. We need a doctor or nurses that we can go to. I called this morning. Took me forever just to talk to one video over here. Place we got over here. We got a big building over there, but it's not what it's supposed to be. I think he tried to make an appointment sometime, couldn't get one for 15 seconds, which is not what it should be. It needs to be, we need to have a place where they can x-ray you, where they can check you better, without saying, go to Clemson or go to Anderson. That, we don't need that. We need Pendleton. And until we get this, and yes, we're not gonna have Pendleton on that until we get this year. So I don't know how to work with it. If I could do it, I'll just do it. I get out here and off the sign and say, yep, let's get this. I'll do anything. My body's nothing wrong. My part, I gotta tell you. X-ray my body and I have laid on this, I have pushed on my body and put all the pain, I put all my hand on this right thing here, till my body's all over to the right. You'd have to see the X-ray, you look way out, and you're walking down, then you saw the X-ray and see that my body's leaning to the right. Never get it back, so, because I put my hand on that bone. And that's another warning that I like everybody to know, be careful how you gotta walk, how you use it, put you something or raise it up something, because I have suffered terrible on account of that one thing. But we both felt it on the map, and I'd like to see it on there. So we gotta work on that.
Thank you for your comment, we appreciate that very much. Next, I believe we had next, you'd like to come up?
It's on Meyer 404 Westminster, formerly at 236 Main Street. As of today, I'm no longer the owner of the post office. I have a question on the budget. On capital improvements, the fiber tech mill redevelopment, 300,000, is that changing them? Okay. And is that to match some work they're doing?
What?
Is that to match some work that they're doing at the county that we're experiencing that, or is that your infrastructure for them?
That is, in the infrastructure development agreement, that is on the road up front and do water, sewer,
And the pond will be their
on
responsibility,
there.
correct? And then that sewer line that runs behind it, that's ours, obviously. So now that is part of us getting all that.
Yeah.
And then I walked that the other day.
Well, it's getting it to the meter. I don't know exactly.
Oh, getting it to the.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what it is on top of it. Most of that is ACT's obtained for some of that work. So, Untitled Street. It's gonna be up there.
Oh, I know where I work,
Right on.
right on the side there. And so, because it's in this year's budget, does that mean we can expect some change in our activity this year?
That, I think you were looking at the fund balance allocation. It's already, that's reserved in fund balance. So it's sitting in there for when it's called upon.
That was approved.
That was
Prior
approved.
to.
Yeah,
So you're just carrying it over once this fiscal year 21, you're still just carrying it over for when they get ready to go, definitely when they're ready to go.
you're looking at a chart, got a bunch of different things. That's your fund balance account. So you have to account for your fund balance and show how your fund balance is allocated out. And there's different things that fund balance is allocated to. Like there's one in there, if we have a huge capital loss to a building
Right.
that you have, I don't know what it is off the top of my head. So that you can maintain yourself during the insurance time. That's how all that fund balance, that's just has to be a specific project. Like the parking lot behind Brews is in there.
Right,
200,000.
200,000, right.
And so when it actually comes to fruition, the council doesn't have to hunt that money, it's reserved. They just have to pull it out of fund balance and then spend the money.
Okay, that's great, thanks.
Thank you.
That's what we're gonna get the change up.
I think it's close. I mean, they've sent plans in.
They haven't sent plans in yet, but they're trying to get to the approval process.
Anyone else? Come on up, Andrews.
Beverly Reese, 437 Hamburg Street, down Mechanic Street. There's an area there, the bicycle lane, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, there's an area there that never gets cleaned off. It's, the limbs are hanging over over the bike lane. I tried to walk there, but you have to walk in the road. And plus, they don't keep it cleaned off. The new fire hydrant we do have, great, but you know, grass is going around. So can you somehow to keep that part of that road clean off? It's all the way down, it's from Hamburg Street all the way down to, I don't know the other one down towards, one of those my skyline, to go up that hill. It's never clean. So.
What's that, the street?
It's,
I mean,
it's across from him, it's across the road.
okay.
So that's
Right at the
one of the
fire
signs that's on the right, on your left side, if you want to.
And it's looking at the fire hydrant.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Certainly you were.
Dan Armstead, 406 South Elm Street. I've been here for 22 years. And I did not understand what Miss Eileen was saying. She was talking about the doctor's office down there in Pendleton. And I went in last month and I asked for an appointment so I could get in there. And they gave me my appointment for September the 19th. That's a long stretch. And they said if I had any problems before then, that I could go to the emergency room. And I didn't know what she was trying to explain to me, so I went down there to get an appointment. I don't think there's much we can do about that. And you know, that's a long stretch though.
Yeah, you know, you can also go to urgent care.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Rick Lewis, 217 Cricket Cedar. First of all, the neighborhood would like to thank Mike and Dave for coming out, helping us out with the two projects in the falls. Second of all, we got these notices. I don't know if you're aware of this. Is Anderson County going to supersede the town of Pendleton on rezoning?
Yeah, that's not the city limits.
It is not in the city limits. Okay, so we have to go to Anderson next week. So across the street is not city limits. So the business that we have back there that has a lot of parties is also not the city. All right, you answered our question.
Yeah, that's kind of one thing, that's just to mention, that's why we kind of work so hard. We bring some of it in, because.
Yeah, can we annex it this
Can we
week?
annex it?
Well, they have to want it.
No,
They don't want to do that.
we're just concerned about what it brings.
Yeah,
Technical part.
I agree. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
My name is Paul Carroll. I own a lot at 144 Old Compton. And we're hoping to build our forever home there soon. And we recently became aware that there's a moratorium on new permits in fill lots in the city. And I wanted to find out who I need to talk to, I assume Mr. Paulson, to determine how we determine whether that's actually true or not. It's an existing major subdivision as far as I can tell. So I'm not sure if that means it counts as infill or not. And it's also not clear whether the moratorium actually applies to a major subdivision versus a minor subdivision, or an existing subdivision versus a new subdivision. So I wanted to, one, find out who I need to talk to, and two, if I can't get the permit to build relatively soon, to kind of state to the council that I would like to make sure that the moratorium doesn't get extended beyond the current time, so we can move forward with that project. So, or Mr. Paulson, are you the correct person to talk to on the details for that?
Yeah, just call me at the office or come by anytime.
Okay, thank you.
No
If
problem.
you want to state your name one more time without.
Paul Carroll.
Paul Carroll.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else tonight? Okay. Hearing none. Where are you coming back?
Sorry. I'm super sorry. This is my first council meeting, so I wasn't sure when to go and just like really needed to say my piece. And, but
You're doing well.
you said something and I had a follow-up question. So you've allocated, I think Mr. Miller, you spoke to, there's been $50,000 allocated to enforcement of the mill cleanup and then $200,000 for cleanup itself. Is that accurate to what you said earlier, or did I misunderstand?
There has been no money allocated.
Okay,
So there has been money allocated to enforcement.
sure.
And then cleanup, depending on what comes out of the enforcement action, gets paid. What the council has to decide how, when, or what process to use for cleanup.
I guess my question then specifically would be like, what is actually happening as far as enforcement goes? Because when I moved in, the guy was there was placards up for tax evasion and all kinds of violations, and obviously that did not work. And I also went through the archives online and see news articles from 2014 saying the mill's finally going to be cleaned up, and that obviously didn't happen. So I'm curious as to like what the actual plan for enforcement, or for, like what is those funds going towards as far as like action items or plans.
So.
I'm glad they're set aside, but like what's happening?
So, it's probably, well, I'm trying to think, not the legal. I'm gonna let you handle it.
Basically, what we do is going to depend on how they respond to what we're doing in the enforcement.
So,
If they can comply,
yeah,
yeah,
Sure.
that's what we
They
figure out.
they also could have complied a lot of other times too.
Yeah, and if they don't, then it goes, it's gonna start a little process. And, it's just hard to say how that goes.
so,
How long, how much it costs.
but we have adopted some specific orders in order to deal with this stuff. And if you're asking what we will be spending the $50,000 on, we will be spending $50,000 on attorneys and geotechnical and environmental engineers to come in through this process along with various other things. This is not like we want to hire a bulldozer for $50,000 and go out there. So,
He says from the bulldozer.
Okay, I guess my last question, and I promise I'll let you all go, but where can like someone like me be updated on this process? Because like it's not something that is like on the agenda at town council, and I mean, I can keep coming and asking you these questions, but is there like a way to stay in the know on the process more easily?
Yeah, you can come by and, talk to Dave.
Sure.
That would be one way.
Okay.
You can come to 221 East Main Street and talk to me.
Okay. Okay,
Anytime.
great, all right.
Email me, yeah, before, I will tell you, there will be things that go into attorney-client privilege, probably not be discussed.
Sure, totally understand. I appreciate that. But yeah, I started with the zoning meeting about the oil mill, and now I'm right here, so I'm just trying to get my personal action plan. So thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate it. All right, anyone else?
Carl Corning, 161 East Queen Street. I had a thought while she was talking about the oil mill. Has there been any fire department enforcement on that property? I mean, everybody, all businesses in town have to meet fire codes. If that caught on fire, her house is gone. Vine Hill's gone, probably St. Paul's Church is gone. It seems that there should be some avenue to force them to make that not a fire hazard. I mean, we've been taking the approach of trying to condemn the property other ways, but is there any enforcement mechanism there with a fire marshal?
We're going, as long as we continue down this path, at some point, there will be a conclusion. And there will have to be, if it happens the way we feel, there will have to be actions from the town for to draw that. There is not, as long as we continue down this path, there is no way there is not a conclusion unless we just completely mess up our enforcement. That's why we're spending the money to bring in attorneys and everything to the front end.
Can you say what the, without getting into the problems with the legal issue, can you say what the enforcement method is? Are we going to call it a hazard or?
So at the end of the day, there will be a determination that the building is condemned. That meaning that will be factors that will be condemned. But there, between now and then, there are several different spots where maybe the owner just gives up and it happens a lot faster. Maybe the owner collects a lot of fines and fights us, and it's over several years. Maybe we end up in civil court, which is where it goes, is in civil court. And the judge orders compliance, and if he doesn't comply, the judge orders us to execute it. That is the point where we will have to have the money in hand to execute the enforcement of it. And so you can have anything from as short as 120 days, you can be out there cleaning it up, as long as you've got the money to start cleaning it up, or stabilizing the fence and all, whatever you have to do to start, to, we've talked to other cities, there's some cities that fought for 5 years in court to get a hold of places to start cleaning up. And a lot of it depends on how, the owner reacts and the city reacts to enforcing the issue. But it is a proven code, it's a code that every city in the state of South Carolina has used down this. It's a code we've already used in town and tested. We tested right close to the oil mill, across from the old post office, and it worked. And there's a lien on that property for $20,000. And that kind of gives you a scale. That property was $20,000. The last house we got was $28,000. So you can kind of extrapolate out what the deal costs.
Thank you. Anyone else?
And it's called a part-time, and I live at 634 Crenshaw Street.
Read that number one more time.
Carl.
Call it part-time.
634 Crenshaw.
It is, I just want to address the, we're talking about the building and the rezoning classifications. And I live on Black City Water, and the proof that the water systems have been proved, have been shown to be substantial to handle all this growth that's coming, the Pendleton water. They would say they have it, but they don't have it. You know, we know we don't have it. Down there, the infrastructure is aging, it's in serious need of replacement or upgrading. I know that we need to deal with changing climates, and then what about all these man-made contaminants that's coming on us, and the water? You understand, the only thing that our complacency is gonna get us is this gonna break down the road, and then it's easier to pass it now than to overturn it later. You know, y'all, I mean, what we don't, and I believe that basic facilities, they're not, you can't maintain what's coming. On 187 is mainly, because Pendleton has been waiting for a while to have the water down from West Queen Street. And all the sidewalks have been marked for all the water to be replaced, and there's a lot of water that hasn't been. Sewer systems, I mean, how are they gonna go about doing that? That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, that's all I can say about that. But, the American Society of Engineers gave the drinking water infrastructure a D minus. It's probably a big universal thing, but our pattern of population growth, it's not going to maintain the water. If they can prove they've done the water, I don't think they have. Not down 187.
The water on 187 is not that.
But why is the town, how did they annex that part of the property into the town? What is the benefit of the town land grabbing that to get the money from the builders if they cannot put the water lines down in there?
The water lines are 12-inch water line on 187.
Well, that's what's already there, but they see what they're doing down there is they're proposing and they're getting approval for the other family homes, and then they're going back before y'all to get it approved, and they allow them to get a 5-family home, the apartments. 5 commodes in one bed. How do we account for that? I mean, and somebody needs to put forth a proof that they've done it.
So, the Sand Springs water, when you go for development, you have to find out what capacity you need to be building.
Right.
And they have to go to Sand Springs water and get whatever capacity. So Sand Springs water, university on about 33 million gallons of capacity. That we have a plan on Parkway trees. And it's actually a 48-inch line that brings it up here to Denver Downs and pumps it into us.
How long does one approval have to remain before they get it rezoned? It's 2 weeks. In my experience, it's been, they go before y'all and they get it, and then they come back before y'all 2 weeks later and get it rezoned. And then at the end of it all, what y'all don't see is, at the end of it all is a big apartment, multi-family dwellings that y'all didn't include.
So
that changes that, and then there's water. It affects everything. It affects the wildlife, it affects everything.
So they can't just change their plan without going back through.
They do go back and forth, and they do get it approved.
They have to go through a planning process. When you're talking about utilities, that it's not the same issue. In utilities, we know how much capacity. And so we have sewer up there, we have to go with use line and county to come down the plan.
Right.
And so we're not building the infrastructure that these subdivisions have to build with us.
The developers put in the new.
They build it us, so it's not costing us anything to service.
It just looks to me like they're approving one development, and they haven't even put the lines in for that development. And then y'all approve 2 more developments. That's just like, it's overwhelming.
But we carry what they call a checkbook. We can show every development and every gallon that's allocated out of the plant in that checkbook. So we know every total, we reclaim capacity out of there. So you can't go to Columbia and get a permit for anything, but you have to get a permit from Columbia without us allocating out of either Anderson North Regional or either Pendleton wastewater treatment plant. And so the capacity on utilities is there.
Okay. It's big enough, so it's all attention. Okay, that's all, thank you.
Thank you. That's your question. Anybody else?
Frank, I'd like to say one more thing. I feel like God has left me here for a purpose to be 102, and I want everybody to pray that. I believe in God, I believe in prayer, and when I pray, God answers my prayers, He's answered for me, and I'm so far. But to pray that whatever God left me here to do, that I will live long enough to do what God wanted me to do. We all pray for me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Anyone else? All right, hearing none, we're going to go to the closed section of the comments. And I would like to ask if there's a motion to adjourn. Oh, one more thing before we do that, I will mention about the oil mill. That, I guess the bottom line thing I want to say is we're going to be as aggressive as we can be legally at that. That makes sense?
Yes.
You know, and I know it seems like a long process, but we're going to be as aggressive as the law will allow us to do. It is a priority. But it is gonna be, may not be quick, it may be extremely costly. So we're stuck on it. We hope not, but we are gonna be as aggressive as possible, and our goal is to succeed, whatever it takes. So that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
I have a motion, that's second. I have a motion and a second. There's no more discussion, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries, we're adjourned. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.